Hello, I'm Erik Robey.
And I'm Karla Schaffer, and this is Anne Arundel County Week in Review. On today's show, we'll talk to one of our newest county councilmen and take a look at how our youngest basketball players are learning the ropes, making headlines this week. Well, we've tried just about every trick in the book to get people to recycle more often. And now there's about to be a new law that would stop tricksters from stealing recyclables. County Executive Leopold plans to sign legislation into law this week that will make stealing these items punishable by as much as 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. The legislation, sponsored by Councilman John Grasso of Glen Burnie, targets scavengers who try to swipe cans, cardboard, and plastic containers at county facilities to sell them for personal profit. The county earns as much as $1.5 million each year by selling these items to recycling companies. County Executive Leopold said of the new law, "I am pleased to join the council in taking another step to enhance our recycling effort. Any legislation that helps maximize our revenue from recycling is a step forward."
Our community spotlight shines brightly on an important group that strives for excellence here in Severna Park. Marina Hardy, one of our new community and constituent service representatives, talks with leaders of Aspire. Marina.
Thank you so much, Erik. I'm Marina Hardy, and I'm here today with Sandy Spadaro and Pat Troy. Sandy Spadaro is the current president of Aspire, and Pat Troy is the founding president and current executive director of Aspire in Severna Park. Ladies, what does Aspire stand for?
It's for the Association for Severna Park Improvement and Renewal and Enhancement.
Great. I'm sure you guys do a lot of great stuff in the community. What led you to start Aspire, Pat?
We noticed that there was no 501c3 organization in Severna Park that was focused on really building a better future for Severna Park, and we saw this niche and felt that if we could start something, we could make a difference. And actually grew out of a planning group that had people from the Greater Severna Park Council and the Greater Severna Park Chamber of Commerce. So it just seemed the smart thing to do to start a brand new organization that had strong ties to both.
Fantastic. And when did the organization come about?
1994.
Oh, fantastic. So it's almost coming up on a big anniversary here in a couple years.
Yeah, we're getting there.
And what role do you play separate from the other organizations in Severna Park?
Well, I think that each organization has its niche, and our niche is focusing on the future. And we also try to keep our heritage alive and celebrate those people who make a difference. So we are perhaps a little bit different in that we're not worried about, like zoning issues and that sort of thing. We're more focused on just trying to make a better quality of life. And part of that is historic preservation and recognizing the value of the contributions of our current leaders in all the different organizations. So we're a catalyst for making good things happen.
Great. And Sandy, your slogan of Aspire is preserving the past, celebrating the present, and planning for the future. Yes. How are you currently accomplishing this in the Severna Park community?
Well, I think one of our signature events for preserving the past is Heritage Day, which usually happens in October. And we've been doing that for several years now. And we try to bring the community together to celebrate how the founding of Severna Park, and it's sort of a Founders Day kind of an event.
Oh, fantastic. And when does that happen every year?
That's the first part of October.
Oh, great. And what are some of the other most significant accomplishments of Aspire in the community?
Well, Aspire has also helped to, I guess we partnered with the Friends of the B&A Trail to do Hatton Green Register. It's a little park right along the B&A Trail, and helped to get the funding and coordinate some of those things to have that happen. Also in February, we always have volunteer leadership dinner. So there are a lot of groups in Severna Park, and there's many leaders, and there's a lot of good things that are happening, and there's many organizations that are working towards a better quality of life for Severna Park. And so Aspire tries to help identify those leaders and celebrate them, and we honor them at a dinner in February.
Great. That dinner's right around the corner.
It is. That's February 23rd, coming up.
Great. And how do people get nominated to become a leader that's recognized at the dinner?
We send out to all the groups that we know of in Severna Park a nomination form, and we ask everybody to identify one of the leaders. You know, there's a lot of leaders, there's a lot of volunteers in Severna Park that do things, but this dinner is specifically to recognize the leaders in each organization that has taken on a specific task or a program or something and has followed it to its fruition. So, so we send out a nomination form, and then we wait to hear back and go from there.
Great. I'm sure they're coming in these days, starting to trickle in.
Yeah. They certainly are.
And what other events do you have planned for 2011 thus far? What are the things that are in the hooker?
Well, we're working on the mural project.
Right, we've been working on that one for some time. We actually have a couple of lovely, murals in the heart of Severna Park, and we've got several more planned, and we're looking at some new technology to do something that's going to be very, very beautiful and durable, but using new technology. So.
Oh, great. And are these on the sides of businesses?
Yes, along the B&A trail.
Right.
Oh, great.
And we're also looking at how we can reach out to newcomers in Severna Park. We think that that's an area where we could make a difference. So we have something in the works on that. Nothing final, but we're thinking about how we can make that introduction to the community.
Right. Hopefully partner with other community, like the community center or other groups, and welcome newcomers.
A lot of great things planned then. And why did you both decide to I'll start with Pat, why did you decide to start Aspire, and what keeps you involved?
Well, I think we decided to start Aspire with a focus on planning, that was the impetus originally. And I recall the late Skip Carr back in the late 80s said, you know, we could have made Severna Park a lot better had we planned 20 years ago, but it's never too late to start. And that's really, I think, what inspired me to try to make this all come together. The thing that keeps me going is I really believe in what Aspire is about, and I'm in the association management business, and so it's only a natural that I would want to work with Aspire to be sure that it's strong and healthy going forward into the future, and that's something that we can do through the services we offer. So it's a long, ongoing relationship.
Fantastic. And Sandy, what about you?
Well, and I began with Aspire a few years ago. My husband was involved, and he's president of the Magothy River Association. And so watching him interact with this group and the good work that they were doing, he was going to step down, and I wanted to be involved too. I think it's great to be helping to move forward, to improve your community, and I'm very passionate about that, and I think this is a good fit for me.
Fantastic. And how long have you both lived in Severna Park?
I moved here in 76, and still a relative newcomer.
Yes. How about you, Sandy?
I moved here in 1984, but before that, my husband kept his boat next door to a neighbor's house for since 1981, I think it was. So pretty much I've been coming out here, living here or visiting since the early 80s, and just love the community.
It's a great place. And what's the greatest reward you've derived from Aspire personally, Pat?
Well, I think seeing Hatton Register Green come together was a big thing for Severna Park, because we had identified that we needed a park in the heart of Severna Park, and this was an exciting thing. And I think the fact I think that honestly, having so many different people from different organizations around the table, sharing ideas, just gets me excited. I think that is an ongoing thing, that we are able to make Severna Park better because we talk to each other instead of fighting each other. We try to solve our problems first. That's why oftentimes you'll see Severna Park down in force at the county council all together instead of against each other.
Fantastic. I've started many a lovely run at that park and ended them there. How about you, Sandy?
Well, I guess just interacting with all the great leaders in the community, and you know, seeing Severna Park Heritage Day come together. I think that's been a real satisfying thing to see that happen. And just, you know, like I said, just interacting with all the different community groups, the community center, and just all the leaders.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both so much, ladies, for coming in today and chatting with me, and I look forward to hearing about all your great accomplishments in 2011. Erik, that's all from us here. Back to you.
Thanks, Marina. We hope our viewers enjoy these regular segments with our community service representatives because they are a chance for you to get to know the person who works in the area of the county serving you and also learn about important groups and services right here in your neighborhood.
Experts from around the county will come together this week to discuss the very serious issue of mental health. We've all witnessed tragedies in the community we later learned might have been averted with the right combination of awareness, identification, and treatment for those who need it. Most recently, it was the shooting of Congresswoman Giffords in Arizona, and years ago it was the massacre at Columbine High School. Many agree that we can do more to stop these tragedies from happening. County Executive Leopold will host a special forum on mental health on Monday, February 14th at Anne Arundel Community College in the Cade Building, room 219 from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The panel of 7 experts will include Police Chief James Tier and Frank Sullivan of the county's mental health agency. County Executive Leopold said of the event, "Mental health is an important issue that is often overlooked until it is too late. We must come together as a community to discuss how we approach mental health and how we treat those with mental illness."
In this week's Police Beat, we have a motorist in distress turned robber. On February 9, 2011 at 6:15 a.m., officers from the Northern District received information from a citizen that she was flagged down in the area of Aquahart Road and Sharon Drive in Glen Burnie by a male subject who appeared to be in distress. Joining us now is Public Information Officer Justin Mulcahy with further details on this investigation. Justin?
Thanks, Erik. The citizen subsequently stopped her vehicle, put her driver's side window down, and the male suspect stated that he had a knife and announced a robbery. At that time, the victim was able to accelerate her vehicle and leave the area. The victim notified police, and officers canvassed the area and located a male subject on Aquahart Road that matched the description provided by the victim. The victim responded to the location and positively identified him as the suspect, and he was arrested for the attempted robbery. That suspect was Stephen Jason Adkins, age 35, of 106 Meadow Road in Annapolis, Maryland. Progressing now to our second incident, that took place on February 7th around 2:37 in the afternoon. That's when officers from the Northern District responded to the Vizzini's Pizza located in the 7700 block of B&A Boulevard in Glen Burnie for a report of an armed robbery. Once officers arrived on scene, they spoke with an employee, a 45-year-old male from Glen Burnie. He indicated that a male suspect entered the store, displayed a shotgun, and demanded money. The employee complied with those demands and turned over an undisclosed amount of U.S. currency. The suspect then fled on foot northbound on B&A Boulevard. Several officers, along with a canine unit, canvassed the vicinity but were unable to initially locate the suspect. Now, through investigative means, robbery detectives developed a possible suspect, and around 9:30 in the evening, the suspect was located at a residence located in the unit block of McGurk Drive in Glen Burnie. Further investigation revealed that the suspect was responsible for the aforementioned robbery, and then he was arrested and charged with armed robbery, robbery, first-degree assault, along with reckless endangerment and theft under $1,000. That suspect was Mark Stephen McDermott, age 18, of no fixed address. As always, if you have any information on any of the crimes or suspects we mentioned on the show, don't hesitate to call, email, or text your tip to Metro Crime Stoppers hotline. That number is available 24 hours a day, toll-free at 1-866-7-LOCK-UP. You can also text message MCS plus your message to crimes at 274637. And your third option is to visit the website at www.metrocrimestoppers.net. Remember, phone calls are not recorded and callers remain anonymous. You may be eligible for a cash reward of up to $2,000. Back to you, Erik.
Thanks, Justin.
There is more Week in Review to come. When we return, we'll have an interview with the new chairman of the County Council, Dick Ladd. Take a look at the community calendar for what is happening around the county. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Low-fat cheese sandwiches on whole wheat bread. Chewy and good for you. Snacks high in calcium help build strong bones, and foods rich in fiber are good for your heart. So you have the power to dominate. Can your food do that? Run, throw, think, eat better. Find out more at smallstep.gov.
And welcome back, folks. Well, just a few months ago, our county went through our election process, and there were 5 new council members elected here in Anne Arundel County. And joining us today in the first of what will be a series of meeting our new council members, the council chairman, Councilman Dick Ladd. Dick, thanks for joining us on the program. You've been on the job now for about 2 months here. How are you finding Anne Arundel County government so far?
So far, it's been exciting, fulfilling, complex, not necessarily, I say confusing, but it's been very interesting to plumb and compare to other things. And I think most importantly, I've run across a lot of very nice, competent people.
Mm-hmm. Well, Councilman, you represent the center portion of the county, Severna Park, Broad Neck, the peninsula out there.
Yes.
An area that's really the heartbeat of Anne Arundel County. The citizens in your district, what kind of issues are you hearing about them? What are they bringing to your attention here in the first couple months?
Schools, interest in stormwater runoff, how the bay cleanup issue is going to occur. But I've heard a lot about schools, and some increasing concern about services as we get ready to go into the budget cycle.
Mm-hmm. Well, you worked in D.C. for years. Could you tell us a little bit about your background and what made you decide to run?
Well, let's see. I spent 20 years in the military. In the last 3 or 4 of those, I was in the Department of the Army staff, and my job was to be a liaison, maybe a lobbyist, if you will, to the appropriations committees and for defense. And at the end of my career, I was asked to go over and join the committee staff over there. So I spent a lot of that time working on budget matters and became involved with some of the political functions there, and spent the last 20 years working with defense companies in and about and around the budget process. So I learned a fair amount about the way the budget process works at the federal level, and out of that, when I got settled over here in Annapolis upon my retirement, the instincts that I had, or the background that I had as a youngster in Massachusetts, watching as people retired, was strengthened my desire to get involved with local politics, mainly because it's one of those payback things. So when I got over here, I was delighted to be here, and I guess this is now having lived in Annapolis now 15 years, is the longest I've lived in any one place, and it was provided the opportunity to look for opportunities to get involved with politics, having moved around a lot. So anyway, I was in the budget process in D.C. and at the federal level, and then I just found here that settled here, which is wonderful. We're very pleased to be here.
Well, Councilman, you're chairman now of the Anne Arundel County Council. You're a first-term council member, your first dive into politics, and you're already the leader of this council. Huh? And you took it on full strength. And you've got a very young council. You're the senior member, as the folks down there like to call you.
Almost double the age of the committee.
But we know that you've come to this office with a lot of ideas, a lot of ways that you can shape government and make life better here in Anne Arundel County. Are there any things that we're going to expect to see from you over the next 4 years, issues that you care about working on down there?
Yeah, in the context in which you asked, I think most people in my district, and I think people generally, want to do what's right for their community. And I've spent some time in the last week talking about and thinking about what individual homeowners and property owners can do to help clean up the bay. And living on the bay, I'm acutely aware of that. And one of the things that I learned from a lot of people, there is frustration sometimes in being able to do what they think is right on their property for themselves and for the bay. And I'm very interested in seeing what we can do to streamline and make the permitting process for doing things around our homes easier. Sometimes people will say their experience is it's the Department of No down there and things, and we've talked about some of that in the past ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I would like to see that process improved and provide a larger set of options to property holders, landowners, homeowners to do what's right around the bay and find it easier for us to get different kinds of technology, different solutions into the acceptable solution set for working on our properties. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that there is a prescribed list of things that are accepted school solutions. Sure. And if your particular situation doesn't lend itself to one of those, you wind up having to spend a lot of time, and it's very frustrating. And there it seems as though there are some solutions that don't work in certain situations, and it may be as simple as having to buy sun plants and growth that work well in sun, and you have a shaded lawn or a yard or a waterfront, or the other way around. And so it's a little bit more complex than I think that we've been working with, and we need to make our processes, I would like to argue for the moment, a little bit more sophisticated, a little more flexible, and a lot more responsive to the interests of the community people. And I'm not trying to be get around any of the requirements of Critical Area Commission, but there are more than one way to do this thing, and there's not one size that fits all. And I want to be very clear, I'm not asserting that sure. We have a one-size-fits-all mentality, but we need a wider aperture, as it were, on those things. So I think that part of it is one of the things that's right in the front. The other thing we have to do is we have to take care of our schools. We've got a huge infrastructure challenge, let me put it. It's not a problem. We've got infrastructure. It's been put in place, and it's aging. We want to add more infrastructure, and we only spend, there's a limit to how much money we put on into our budget every year, as you well know. And we've got to find new creative ways to do it. The chief executive has talked about public-private partnerships. We need to explore that. We need to push on that. And we just need to find ways to make our dollars go farther. And that's one of the things that I ran on. But that is a easy thing to say. It's hard to do in the specific. And I look forward to this year's budget cycle and watch you people upstairs do your magic and come forward with some very innovative things. And hope we can support you on some of those.
Absolutely.
So what do you most enjoy about your new position, and what are some of the challenges that citizens might not know about it?
Well, when you run for county council, you think of a defined area on the map. When you get asked to be chairman and you look at the function of the county council, you get dealt another whole deck of cards, another hand that you have to play. And that part of it has been most interesting, because that's a thing that I didn't think that I wasn't sure, and I didn't think that I would ever have the chance to play that role, let alone to have it my first year. But having said that, that has been one of the most challenging things. And actually this first year is a very, very important year. And my role, put at least at the very most fundamental, I got to make the trains run on time. So we have the requirement to do appoint Board of Appeals, which have a very important role. We've got the Charter Review Commission that's got to come along, and that has a very, very important process. We've got comprehensive rezoning, which we're getting ready to do here. We'll start and have one of our first work sessions on that, I think in about 2 weeks' time, very shortly. And then we've got the budget process, which will be a little bit extended in this year. So you can look at right now virtually every meeting that we have laid out before us, almost down into August, is scheduled, and a lot of very, very substantive matters. And these are going to be some things that will shape the way this county grows and operates for at least for a decade and maybe even longer. And it will be informed by, for example, the transportational functional study that you and the chief executive have set forward. All of these things are very important, and I would say many of these things, like the functional review, are very good exercises, but they tend to be fiscally unconstrained, and they're wonderful think pieces, but we've got very real problems. We've got, as you know, $2 billion, even before we addressed Bay problems, in infrastructure issues that we've got to address. So it's fiscal problems in general. That's the upstairs problem. Your question about downstairs, it's making the trains run on time, getting everybody to participate and have that so that they have an opportunity to contribute. And that's, I think, the most important part that the chairman has got to do. We've got a lot of new people. They're very, very talented. I've been very impressed by the group of councilmen that we do, but having been a budget guy, I want to read the words and get down and perhaps be a little bit more staff than I should as chairman, but we need to scrub some of these things. So.
Well, Councilman, you mentioned the Charter Review Commission. That's something that's wholly, solely in the control of the county council. I know you've decided that there's going to be a process. You're going to select members of the community. What are you hoping that these 5 members that you're selecting is going to accomplish over the next 180 days?
Well, actually, it's more than 180 days. I think the first 120 days of their study, the first 120 days, they will take the census data and look at the question of whether there should be redistricting in redistricting. They'll come back to us in 120 days with their recommendations. They then, running concurrently, but with that is the review of the charter. And they will go back and look at it and suggest to us changes that they think are appropriate. The kind of people that we're looking for are people who perhaps have served on the Charter Commission before, people who have had experience in operating in the county government or around the county government, or at the very highest level as best we can. And I would, from back of a better term, I would say I would like to see county senior citizens, people that will look at these things beyond party affiliations, beyond politics, beyond advocacy roles that they may or may not have played. Somebody that will, without question, put Anne Arundel County first.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us today on the program. I think, we've definitely seen your vehicle down there in the parking lot a lot, so I know you're putting the time and the effort in that it takes to be successful in the job. Thank you for serving the citizens in District 5, and we appreciate you having on the program.
Thank you.
Folks, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and keep in mind we will be bringing you the other new council members in the next few weeks. But stay tuned to these messages, and there'll be more Week in Review when we come back.
Alone and crying, boom, boom, bam. Crying, pom, pom, pom. Crying, chaka, chaka, cha. Crying is always good.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
And welcome back. Well, get out your beads and stir up some of those famous drinks called the Hurricanes. Mardi Gras is coming soon right here to Anne Arundel County. Up next in the Community Spotlight, B. Poulin will sit down with April Nyman, Chairman of the Arts Council, to talk about a great benefit for the Arts Council. B.
Well, Erik, it's February, and you know what that means. It's time to celebrate. We have Valentine's Day, President's Day, but the big one that everyone loves to celebrate here and around the world is Mardi Gras. I'm here today with April Nyman, the Executive Director of our Anne Arundel County Arts Council. And this council has been holding a Mardi Gras event for the last 13 years. April is going to tell us more about it today. Hi, April. Welcome.
Hi, Bea. Thanks for having me today.
Good. Tell me about this Mardi Gras event. It's coming up soon, isn't it?
It is. It's February 19th, Saturday the 19th, at the Lowe's Hotel, and it is our 13th year. Can you believe it?
Wow, and that's in Annapolis, right?
That is in downtown Annapolis, and it benefits the entire county art programs. Well, all the monies raised that night will benefit our granting programs for the organizations, the artists, and arts and education, so many things. So it's so important for everybody to participate and attend in Mardi Gras.
How much does it cost to attend this event?
It's $150 per person
Okay.
for a guest, and if you cannot attend that night, there's opportunities for you to participate by bidding on the auction items or buying a raffle ticket. There's so many ways for everyone to be part of this fun evening.
Now, this event is sponsored by a number of Anne Arundel County companies, is that right?
Yes, our lead sponsors are Erik and the Cordish Foundation. Those are our lead sponsors, and then we do have about 6 other sponsors: BB&T, M&T, and Johns Hopkins Foundation, Annapolis Volvo, and Severna School.
Oh, that sounds like everybody in the county practically.
It is.
Now, who usually comes to the event? People from all neighborhoods, all communities across Anne Arundel?
We do actually have so many. We have our arts organizations that come and support and the regular arts patron, but we have some that just enjoy a good party and would like to come to Mardi Gras. And so we have a great cross-section of patrons that come, and it's a good time for all.
Can you tell us just a little bit more about what the Art Council does and why it exists here in Anne Arundel?
The Arts Council started over 20 years ago and was started by the county as a way to fund all the arts organizations. And so they were the agency that would receive the grants and monitor the organizations and award those important funds that they all need to survive. And so the Arts Council became their own nonprofit organization and continued this. And we've added so many new programs, such as the Arts and Education, the Annie's program that recognizes these wonderful, talented folks in our county. And so we do this year-round.
Great. Well, if folks want to attend the Mardi Gras, they can go to your website or call you. How would they find out more about it?
If they want to go to the website, www.annearundelartscouncil.org, or call us 410-222-7949.
Okay, so we'll repeat that on the screen. And if you're interested in attending the Mardi Gras, it's coming up very soon, the 19th, at the Annapolis Lowe's Hotel. And as they say in New Orleans, laissez le bon temps rouler.
Let the good times roll.
Great. See you there. Back to you.
Thanks, Bea. Sounds like a fantastic event to raise money for the arts and to have a good time. It's good to see that even in a tough economy, folks are contributing to cultural resources.
This week, the Anne Arundel County Fire Department responded to 1,343 calls for service. This included more than 1,034 medical calls and 91 fire calls. Crews battled a gas-fed fire that seriously damaged a residence in Laurel and sent 1 firefighter to the hospital. With us to provide more information on this is Division Chief Michael Cox of the Anne Arundel County Fire Department. Chief?
Thanks, Karla. Just after 2 a.m. on Friday, February 4th, 2011, Anne Arundel County firefighters responded to a reported dwelling fire at number 3344 Yellow Flower Road in the community of Russet, located in the Maryland City area of the county. The first unit to arrive on the scene reported fire coming from the first and second floors of a 2-story end-of-the-road townhouse. In addition, crews also reported fire on the exterior of the dwelling involving a car and a gas meter. In this case, the fire erupted when the resident lost control of the vehicle she was driving, jumped the curb, and struck the dwelling, shearing off the natural gas meter, which caught fire. The first arriving crews stretched hand lines into the dwelling and were able to cut off and extinguish the fire on the interior of the dwelling. At the same time, additional crews worked to prevent the exterior fire from extending back into the dwelling. In all, it took more than 30 firefighters from Anne Arundel and Prince George's counties about 2.5 hours to bring the incident under control. Representatives from the Baltimore Gas and Electric Company had to respond to the scene and secure the natural gas line before the fire could be extinguished. There was no one in the dwelling at the time of the incident, and there were no civilian injuries as a result. However, 1 firefighter operating on the scene suffered a medical problem while operating on the incident. The male firefighter was transported to Howard County General Hospital for treatment. The fire, which was accidental in nature, caused a significant amount of damage to the townhouse. However, a cost estimate of damages was not immediately available. Karla?
Thank you, Chief. County law enforcement officials advised that the driver of the vehicle was the resident of the damaged house in the incident. An investigation into the incident revealed that she was driving under the influence. She subsequently was arrested and charged with driving while intoxicated. And in other news, Erik joins us now from the Sports Palace to talk about wrestling and basketball. Erik?
Thanks, Karla. Well, you're right. We've got an action-packed sports report for you. Good day, sports fans. We lead off today on the mats where the undefeated 32-0 Spalding Cavaliers wrestling squad took on Mount St. Mary's in the last dual meet of the season. With an undefeated season on the line, the Cavs saw themselves down 12-9. But that's until football star K.K. Smith picked up a pin to give Spalding the lead for good. The Cavs stay undefeated in the regular season as they win the MIAA A Conference title 49-15. On the hardwood, it was another football star that helped his team to victory on Tuesday evening. Arundel's Tyler Washington was there when they needed him the most. In the fourth quarter, he dumped in 7 of his 13 points to give the Wildcats a signature victory, 58-55 over 16-3 Glen Burnie. The Gophers' Larry Mike did score a game-high 28 points in the losing effort. While in what was to be the most competitive game of the 2011 high school basketball season, the Southern Bulldogs are fighting to stay 500 as they took on the 6-12 Meade Mustangs. Meade jumped out to an early 6-point halftime lead and looked to put the game away, going up by as much as 12 in the fourth quarter. But the Bulldogs did not go away, scoring 10 unanswered in the fourth to tie the game in regulation. Meade would need to take the contest into a second overtime to pull out a 71-68 victory over Southern. Devontae Burke recorded a double-double for the Bulldogs with 15 points and 11 rebounds. Severna Park also needed overtime to knock off Northeast 48-46, and Annapolis dominated as they beat the Cougars 92-47. Damaco James had 28 points in the win. Well, with all the basketball activity going on at our area schools, have you ever wondered how you can grow up to be the next Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson? Well, our recreation specialist Carolyn Ryan is back again this week at Richard Henry Lee Elementary School to talk about our youth basketball program and maybe give us a preview of the next basketball superstar. Carolyn.
Thanks, Erik. We're here at Richard Henry Lee Elementary School with Rudy Brown, president of the Anne Arundel County Youth Basketball Coaches Association. Thanks for being on the show, Rudy.
My pleasure.
So we've got some basketball going on here. Tell us a little bit about the Winter Basketball League that's going on right now for youth basketball.
Okay, we have organized basketball leagues for boys and girls from the ages of 8 through 17. And we've organized them, and this year is the first time we've done it. We've gone to single age groups, starting at 8U, 9U, 10U, all the way up through 17 and under.
That must mean that you've got a good turnout this year.
I believe the county had over 350 teams between the boys and the girls program.
That's incredible. And now they're at locations throughout the county?
From Brooklyn Park all the way through Harwood, South County.
And now we're also gearing up, as winter basketball is winding down, we're gearing up for spring basketball. How can people get information about being a part of that?
They can visit the Anne Arundel County Rec and Parks website. There'll be registration forms, and they can do it online. This is the second year we've actually done the spring basketball program, and it's just growing, and growing. Kids just seem to want to play basketball year-round now.
And if they want to do a little additional basketball, I understand you've got a tournament coming up as well.
Arundel Youth Sports League is sponsoring their 8th annual basketball tournament. I believe we're beginning the last week of February and continue through the second week of March. If teams are interested, they can go to our website, which is www.hyslbasketball.com. I'd also like to mention that a portion of the proceeds goes to recreation deeds for special needs, which helps disadvantaged kids program in Anne Arundel County.
That sounds like a great cause. Well, thank you very much for being on the show. Anything else you want to add?
I think we about covered it.
Great. Thanks, Rudy. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Carolyn. Well, I came back to the desk because this is a good story. It's a sports story, but it's one of those feel-good sports stories about a 90-year-old lady that's still probably more active than you and I. Finally today, if you need more proof that exercise keeps you young, Google Gladys Morris. She's a 90-year-old great-grandmother from across the pond in jolly old England. Gladys entered her 40th year teaching yoga classes this week, and she has increased her schedule a bit. She teaches classes on Monday and Tuesday, and get this, Karla, she goes for a 2-day class on Thursday at the Lifelong Learning Center in Oldham, England. I guess normal senior activities such as playing bridge and arts and crafts classes will have to wait until Gladys turns 100.
It's an amazing story.
90 years old.
You know what?
I mean, when I'm 90, I'm going to be sitting on a rocking chair somewhere, maybe have a fishing pole in my hand. You know, I don't know that I'm going to be teaching yoga classes.
Probably not. You know, speaking of sports, Eric, I'm a little disappointed that the Packers won, if only because we couldn't dress you up in Steelers gear.
I should have worn some cheese today.
You should have worn some cheese.
It was great. It was a great.
It would look great with that suit.
Yeah.
Cheese head.
And soup. That works well. Cheese and soup, and yeah. But what a game! I mean,
it was a good game.
You got it. Even if you're not a sports fan, you're watching this game. Packers go up 21-3. Looks like this is going to be a blowout. But you know, the Steelers made it close. Big Ben, as he always does, marched those Steelers back, made it close, and at the end, the final play in the fourth quarter, you know, Steelers looking like they're going to drive, maybe come down, have the chance to score a touchdown. Nope. Steelers' hopes are dashed. Good for them. Good for them. As a Ravens fan, good for them.
Yeah, he did have a couple of interceptions there, but it was close the whole time, so that kept things interesting. The commercials were not the most interesting part. Sometimes they are.
So you didn't like the commercials?
No, actually, I did. I didn't think they were as good as they usually are, but I did have some that I liked.
So what about the halftime show?
I thought it was good.
My kids loved it. They wanted to rewind it on the DVR and watch it 2 and 3 different times.
I think they've been afraid of having some younger people on the halftime show after you know, the incident that happened a few years back. But I thought it was good to have some younger entertainment.
Those kind of incidents never happen here at Week in Review. We're always very professional.
That's right.
We don't have wardrobe malfunctions.
No.
We keep it clean. Chuck Duncan makes sure we do, by the way. Well, that wraps up this week's edition of Week in Review. You can watch this episode online anytime at www.aacounty.org. You can find archive episodes. They're available at blip.tv and now at YouTube. You'll see the address there at the bottom of your screen. You can also subscribe to the free video podcast at iTunes. Please tune in again next week for more highlights and news from around your county. We'll see you next time.